I'd first seen Wildflower House in the spring, when the locals still called it the old Forster place. I'd grown up in Richmond, but had never been to Louisa County or heard of a place called Cub Creek until my dad said he was retiring and moving there. It was, according to him, an integral part of his retirement plan. Retirement? A plan? He was only 60. He'd built his tire and automotive business from the ground up and had poured his energy and dedication into it for most of his life. That business had been his baby, in many ways more than I'd been. But we know what we know, and that's what we tend to pass on to our children. Dad hadn't always been physically or emotionally present, but he'd been the best father he knew how to be, and he'd always come to my rescue when I needed him the most. For the past 2 years, I had been living with my father as I recovered from my own disasters. I had learned for myself how vulnerable a person could become, even overnight. Had that happened to my father? Was someone attempting to take advantage of him? I went to see the property for myself. I found a vacant, decaying Victorian mansion in the middle of badly overgrown grounds surrounded by dense forest. But the open, sunny backyard sloping down to the creek was covered in vibrant masses of wildflowers. The colors, the wild and stunning shapes and variety had overwhelmed me, jolting me out of a doldrum I hadn't known I was mired in. In that moment, I decided to move there, with Dad, at least long enough to help him settle in before I left to reestablish my own independent life. I was 32 and mostly well by then. It was time for me to be on my own again. So, we moved to Wildflower House last April. For me, spring became a time of healing from my past sorrows, especially as my father began sharing secrets from his childhood. With the missing pieces finally filling in the picture of our lives, our relationship was improving. Until Dad died in June. Losing him devastated me. Summer ushered in grief, but also fear, the nearly paralyzing fear of having to make decisions alone and probably failing. As summer transitioned into autumn, my heart finally allowed a lifetime of memories with my dad, and even the memories of my mom, who died years before, to displace my stubborn mourning, giving me emotional permission to jump full force into turning Wildflower House into a creative retreat and event space. The renovation wasn't complete yet, but the main floor, with its wide hallways, high ceilings, wood paneling, and huge rooms, was done. The old house had bloomed after Thanksgiving with the help of my new friends, and an old one, Victoria, as we prepared for our first official event, the Ladies' Auxiliary Holiday Open House. It was held in early December and went brilliantly. After the craziness of the event, and before the last of the renovations began in January, I wanted a break and a rest. I thought I could coast into a laid-back holiday, a quiet, solitary Christmas like the ones I'd always known. In fact, a quiet, solitary Christmas was all I'd ever known, until I arrived at Wildflower House.